Today's episode of the Bleav in Steelers podcast is brought to you by betonline.ag. And Ike, week 8 of the NFL season is here. If you want to place a bet on the action, BetOnline is the place to do it.
Man, if you're looking at the World Series, if you're looking at Thursday night football tonight, which is going to be phenomenal, or even if you just want to bet on something on Sunday, man, make sure y'all go to betonline.ag.
Head to the new and updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Use our promo code Bleav50, that's BLEAV 50, to receive your bonus. Bet online, where the game starts. All right, cue the music. It's time to start the show. Welcome to another edition of the Bleav in Steelers podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mark Bergin, joined as always by my guy, two-time Super Bowl champion and 12-year veteran of the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ike Taylor. IT, we've got the Browns Halloween weekend. A lot to discuss on today's episode of the Bleav in Steelers podcast. How are you doing this morning, my man?
I'm good, Mark. How you doing, bro? Glad to see you again. Pittsburgh got the Browns, Sunday on Halloween? Spooky, right? So it's going to need a lot of comeback. I'm sure the Pittsburgh Steelers and those guys still reminiscing on what happened with the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland coming in there, running the ball down the defense throat and shutting down the offense. So I'm sure this game on Sunday is going to be damn good.
AFC North football, you can never argue with that. But we are going to start today's show. Mike Tomlin addressing the college coaching rumors. He was linked to LSU. He was linked to USC. We talked about a week ago, Ike. But at least publicly, he's denying that he's not interested. What say you, though? What'd you make of how Mike Tomlin addressed the coaching rumors earlier this week?
Man, Coach T shut that thing down. He said, look, I'm at an organization, a prestige organization, right? I got 2 Super Bowl rings, 1 at Tampa, 1 with Pittsburgh. My defense always been in the top 10, always been in the top 10, no less than top 15. We struggling on offense, but I never had a losing season as a professional head coach. Let me say that again. I've never had a losing season as a professional coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why in the hell y'all want to bring my name up for me to go back down to college when college coaches want to come to the NFL? The only 2 people that figured out is Nick Saban and Urban Meyer, and I see Urban going back to college after this season.
One exception, Ike. Jimmy Johnson way back in the day as well. Okay,
throwback. Coach Jimmy Johnson.
I got you.
Coach T shut that thing down, man. He said he ain't got time to be playing with y'all, man. His kids was damn near born in Pittsburgh. He been in Pittsburgh for damn near 15 years, have never had a losing season in Pittsburgh. If you just look at all the history, has been before and after Coach T. Coach T said, man, I ain't got time for this, man. Y'all better stop playing with me, stop throwing my name out there. But when Coach T said something about a blank check, I said, hold up.
Yes.
I said, hold up, Coach T. One of these boosters could be a billionaire. And they said, Coach T, we'll give you goddamn $60 million for 2 years. Your ass leaving Pittsburgh. You leaving Pittsburgh. So I'm not saying you could be bought, and you did say never, but never. Coach T, let one of them boosters, all jokes aside, write you an $18 million per year check. Oh, yeah, you leaving Pittsburgh all day. I don't care what you talking about, Coach T. You leaving Pittsburgh all day.
I love the gamesmanship. It's like challenge accepted because that is now out there. And the reason why he was linked into all of this is Carson Palmer had the conversation with Dan Patrick, and he was one of the names that got brought up for the USC job. So I did some research, Ike. He compared himself in the news conference to Andy Reid, who makes $8 million a year, ranks 8th in the NFL. Sean Payton at $9.8 million ranks 3rd. Tomlin at $8 million too. To me, it's the gamesmanship of, okay, let's see if he can get that pay raise. He's under contract through 2024. At the college level, Nick Saban, the highest paid coach in college football at $9.5 million that he's due to make this season. So that to me just leads me to Bleav in his football and the TV ratings keep just skyrocketing. If he wants to continue coaching beyond his current deal and he continues to have the success that he has, you're going to have to pay for having one of the elite coaches in all of football.
Somebody paid Coach T between $12 and $15 million. That's just my personal opinion. If Coach T really wanted to leave, it's a blank check out there. Somebody just got to write it. But I'm not going to say that. But Coach T, at this point in time, he don't want to leave. Like, Pittsburgh is home for him. Like, he got Pittsburgh locked down. He don't want to start all over. He don't want to babysit. He don't want to deal with them kids. He don't want to recruit. But that's just what it is right now. Next year could be totally different, Mark. He might feel a change of heart. Like, you see Coach T and Kevin Colbert all the time at combines and pro days. They just enjoy it, and he likes that process. I don't know if he want to go to high school and enjoy that kind of process. I think he liked that process as an NFL or a professional NFL coach and going to colleges. I don't think Coach T like going to high school. So right now I think Coach T is at a good place, a good place, especially a good peace of mind when you want to talk about Pittsburgh and where he's at with that organization and what he's doing with the organization, how he likes handling men. If you talk to the guys who have played or are playing for Coach T, they just say, man, he's a player's coach. He always been like that with me. Coach T let me slide with everything. So that's just what it is. But he's very knowledgeable, and he simplifies the game to you to where he can break it down to whether you're 3 years old or 58 years old, regardless on if you know football or not. He just got that gift. That's just Coach T. So we'll see what's up, man. But right now, Coach T is just staying in Pittsburgh for the year of 2021. Well, Mark, it's a blank check out there. I don't care what Coach T say. It's a blank check out there. It just depends on how much they want to write it for.
I have one last thought on this. And Courtney, turn the video machine on for this one. This is going to be a social breakout video. To my fellow media members and journalists out there, asking head coaches in a news conference whether they're interested in another job. Be better and ask better questions. In the history of humankind, I've never seen a head coach say publicly in a news conference, a head coach, oh yeah, I'm considering another job at another program, another franchise, another organization. Be better. I've never seen it admitted publicly. I know Coach T was very adamant that he's not interested in leaving Pittsburgh, but we've seen it before. We've seen other head coaches. Nick Saban's the first one that comes to mind, who says, oh, no, I'm not interested in this at all, and goes back on his word. A head coach is never going to publicly admit that in a news conference. Rant over.
Professional liars. That's all head coaches are. They're professional liars. They're not supposed to give you what's going on in-house. They got to lie to you. You know, that's just what it is when you want to talk about talking to the media. That's how they get professional coaches, man. They're professional liars.
All right, Ike, we're going to move on. Steelers taking on the Browns Halloween weekend, and the Steelers getting some key players back. Anthony McFarland's back on the 53-man roster, along with right tackle Zach Banner. Continue to get that running game established. Now, a major storyline on the back half of the season for the Steelers, Ike, is this. Can Anthony McFarland emerge as Najee Harris's Batman? That's something I'm going to be keeping my eye on in the coming weeks.
I don't know, man. They're gonna have to, slowly but surely with him. Anthony McFarland we talking about. Let Najee just get in the groove. You know what I'm saying? Just hand the ball off to Najee, whether it's shotgun or I formation, but try to do it consistent. Because you know what Cleveland about to do. Baker Mayfield about to hand the ball off at least 30 to 35 times and keep the clock, going, slow the game down, let the defense do what they do against the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. But man, let's see who's going to have the best rushing game. Because for me, whoever had the best rushing game, this game right here is going to win the ball game as far as like passing. Ben has been okay passing the ball to this point. Baker has been okay passing the ball to this point. I think they're down to equal when it comes down to what their stats are this year between touchdowns and interceptions. So in this point, man, it's just a battle of the offensive line. Which offensive line going to play better than the other offensive line? What running back going to get in the best rhythm than the other running back? Whoever running back getting the best rhythm is the team who's going to win the game.
Yeah, Nick Chubb's back at practice. He's coming back from a calf injury, Ike. Now, I know Dearness Johnson did a nice job filling in for him in Week 7, that Thursday night game, because Kareem Hunt is also out for the Browns.
Correct. Did a hell of a job.
And so the Browns getting healthy too. Baker Mayfield has practiced this week. He sat out in Week 7 as well because of that shoulder injury. The Baker Mayfield Case Keenum debate's in full swing. Mayfield's played through the shoulder injury since Week 2, and there's reports out there that he's going to need surgery after the season's over and that he'll try to play through this shoulder injury. The timing of that's really unfortunate for him, Ike, because he's entering the end of his rookie deal, and the Browns have to determine after the 2022 season whether to offer him that hefty contract extension or not, something that the Ravens are going to have to figure out with Lamar Jackson as well. In the same draft class, Josh Allen got the bag, $43 million average annual salary through the 2028 season, but he's played at such a high level in Buffalo. That's really the big question that Browns general manager Andrew Berry and company need to figure out, is if Mayfield is worth that contract extension, because we know once quarterbacks make and get that second extension, we're seeing it right now with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. We've seen it with the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson. Once his rookie deal was up, you allocate more of the salary cap to your star quarterback, and you don't have as much money to go around upgrading the rest of the roster. And that's really the dilemma that the Browns have entering this game with Baker Mayfield, who hasn't played well this season, again, playing hurt right now through a shoulder injury, really, again, since Week 2 of this season.
So, Mark, I'm looking at it like between $35 and $40 million per year for Baker Mayfield, depending on what goes on during the season. Now, I'm thinking Deshaun Watson. Here's why I'm thinking Deshaun Watson. First of all, he already has a contract. 1. 2, if you don't go down there to Miami, you can always, depending on what the league, what everybody else want to do with this situation, determine. So you can franchise tag Baker Mayfield for next year if you want to.
2023, Ike, because 22 is his fifth-year rookie deal. But I know what you're saying.
Correct. So they can pick up his rookie deal or not if they want to, and that's the Cleveland Browns, right, on his fifth year option. They don't have to if they don't want to. So they already have as well. So yeah. I'm sorry. So next year will be his fifth-year option that's picked up by the Cleveland Browns, right?
Yes.
Okay, you let him play that out. You bring Deshaun Watson in, and the reason why you bring Deshaun Watson in, 1, he's already under contract. You can restructure his contract because that'll put him at 2 years sitting out, right? But what I do know is Deshaun Watson is an upgrade than Baker Mayfield. We all saw what Deshaun Watson did with between 4 and 5 different coaches at his time. Deshaun Watson was a steady Pro Bowl top 10 quarterback at his time. Deshaun Watson never had a defense at his time. Deshaun Watson, if you only know what DeAndre Hopkins was, he was just throwing it to DeAndre Hopkins. Deshaun Watson has been the guy, Mr. Houston, since he's walked into the Houston complex. Deshaun Watson is Mr. Houston. So when you get a guy like Deshaun Watson, and you watch what Deshaun Watson did when he was back there at Clemson, then you watch Deshaun Watson when he was doing with some okay receivers once DeAndre Hopkins had left, he was just Mr. Everything. So he had a lot on his shoulders. And I think for the most part, he's the only quarterback that did more with less. You look at Lamar Jackson, we talk about the receivers he don't have, but he do have a running game. He do have a defense. You give that to Deshaun Watson, you put Deshaun Watson over in the Baltimore Ravens, ain't no telling what they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it. I'm looking at what quarterback does more with less. And that has been Deshaun Watson. Now, you give Deshaun OBJ, you give him Jarvis Landry, you give him Njoku, you give him Peoples-Jones, and you give him that defense, and you give him Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. You want to talk about Super Bowl contenders? There'll definitely be Super Bowl contenders, because going into the season, in the offseason, I was looking at the Cleveland Browns as Super Bowl contenders just by their roster, just by the roster and the guys they had. I felt like Cleveland per pound, per position, they have the best guys at every position, or top 5 best guys at every position. They just not putting the pieces together right now. So you put a quarterback into that, and we talked about truck or trailer. I look at Deshaun Watson as a truck. I look at Baker Mayfield as a trailer. So you put a truck on a team like that, man, the sky's the limit is what I think. So either Miami or Cleveland, that's how I'm looking at Deshaun Watson.
They're really between a rock and a hard place because of this, Ike. The Browns might value Mayfield more than any of the other 31 teams in the league because this was a franchise in quarterback hell. 2019, when Mayfield started all 16 games, Ike, the Browns hadn't had a quarterback to do that since Tim Couch in 2001. You know the old clip, the picture of the Browns fans where they've got whoever's quarterback jersey, and it's all the names that are crossed out. It's a social media hilarious picture. So if you want to pay Baker Mayfield 35 to 40 million, it's like, is he actually worth that, or is he worth that to Cleveland specifically? And that's really the big dilemma that I would have, because I think Baker Mayfield's very middle of the road. I think there are a lot of quarterbacks that are better than him, especially in the AFC. I also think there are many quarterbacks worse than him. If the Steelers end up getting an Aaron Rodgers, or they end up getting a stud in the draft, say a Matt Corral out of Ole Miss, or one of these young quarterbacks who will be coming in next year, if you're the Browns, you could be talking about having the 4th worst quarterback, or the 4th best quarterback, I should say, in the division, because we know what Lamar can do. We know what Joe Burrow is doing this season. Bengals have been excellent so far entering week 8 of the NFL season. And then what Big Ben has been traditionally for Pittsburgh, he's in the final year of his contract. Steelers probably aren't going to bring him back. We'll see what happens there. But if they make an upgrade and bring Rodgers into the division, or get a young stud, or someone like, say, maybe a Russell Wilson, who's I've read things that listen, if the Steelers make an upgrade at quarterback, you've got to be sitting there as a Browns organization asking, are we sure we want Baker Mayfield, not just for our franchise, but relative to the rest of the teams in the division? That's something that they're going to have to figure out. And it's the gamesmanship, Ike. It's fascinating to me, because it's not just what you're doing for your organization, but what you're doing for your organization relative to the other teams in your division who you're playing twice a year.
I mean, now you're talking like a goddamn GM. I love it, Mark. Now you're talking. So you look at that division, Mark, and you ask yourself, between Big Ben and Baker Mayfield, right now y'all rank 3rd in our division when it comes down to quarterback play.
Yeah,
this is 3A, 3B. Depending on who have the better week than the other person, between Lamar between Lamar Jackson and I'm drawing a blank.
Joe Burrow, Joe Cool.
Yeah, between Jamar and Joe Burrow, man, you got to tip your hat to them. You two are the best 2 right now in the division. So who's the 3rd and the 4th? Well, it just depends on what week it is and what stats and who helped their team win for that week. So 3A, 3B when it comes down to Baker Mayfield and Big Ben. So, yeah, you're 100% right. Going into it as a GM, looking into it the first 4 quarters of the season, because the GMs like to break it down by every 4 games, or every 4.1 now. Every 4 games on what quarterback has the best play. That's just what it is. So, I mean, you hit it on the head, Mark. So for Baker, he got to put himself, in the general manager's perspective, like, how do I feel up against a Joe Burrow and a Lamar Jackson and Big Ben? Okay, let me check my stats. I think both of them, between Big Ben and Baker Mayfield, both of them have the same kind of stats. Right now with the touchdown and interception ratio, it's just how do I feel up and how do they look at me? And you're right. And I think you hit it on the head again when you said, Cleveland feel like Baker Mayfield might be the best situation for us. Not exactly the best situation in general, but just the best situation for the Cleveland Browns. He's gritty. He's tough. He don't give a what. He don't have a I don't give a what attitude. You kind of like that in him. So that's he always been like that. He's been like that since the Oklahoma days. So we'll see how Cleveland feels about him in the offseason. But I think Cleveland is going to take their time on signing Baker Mayfield, to be honest with you.
Yeah, get a larger sample size. And I know that that's why Andrew Berry is held in high as regard as he is as a general manager, a very young general manager as well. Getting Chubb back in this game, I think, is key. Jack Conklin, the right tackle, the starter as well, has missed some time. He's back in practice this week, an all-pro player. And that one-on-one matchup with TJ Watt off the edge is going to be one of the key matchups in Sunday's game. And then another key to the game that I had to slowing down Myles Garrett, because entering week 8, he is the odds-on favorite right now to win Defensive Player of the Year, even despite the fact that the Browns have been a little bit shaky in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Myles keep getting drug tested. Ever since he took off the sleeve, he went sleeveless. He's just been getting drug tested week after week, man. If you look at him, man, he's just like a goddamn mutant. You know what I'm saying? And I feel sorry for Myles. Put the sleeves back on, Myles, because the NFL is picking on you. You can't help that you do curls, biceps, and tris all damn day. I get it. It looks good. But anyway, yeah, before, Myles just has been, he's been playing to their first round, their first round expectation, and even to his contract expectation. So, I mean, now he has somebody opposite of him that can take some kind of help off of him. So, Myles been Myles to me. Myles Garrett been Myles Garrett to me. I've always been a fan of Myles at Texas A&M. So it's just now I think he's finally getting into his prime. He's finally staying healthy. So he went crazy a couple of games ago. We had 4 sacks a couple of games ago. So I get it. But Cleveland right now, man, they got a lot of high first, second, third round draft picks on their defense. I don't know when they're gonna figure it out, but whenever they do figure it out, it's gonna be hell on everybody. So Cleveland just got to figure that part out. Pittsburgh Steelers as well, though, Mark. Pittsburgh, and I'm going to continue to say this, man, they got to keep running the ball, Mark. They have to keep running the ball. They got to put 7 on the pitch count, 25 passes or less. And it's been proven. I think you have the stat to say that. The defense, they catch a little break. So now when it's time for them to make a big play, they're able to get on the field and cause disruption. But the only time they can do that is they don't even have to be well rested. They just need to be rested some sort. And how you do that is by running the ball. So you getting Anthony McFarland back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll see how they like the Batman and Robin this thing when it comes down to this Cleveland Browns game.
One other player due back in the coming weeks, Stephon Tuitt, probably not due back this week, but his rehab is progressing well. That's what Coach Tomlin told media members. We'll get to our score predictions for Steelers and Browns later in the pod. We're going to get to some other Week 8 matchups now. Titans at the Colts, battle of 2 AFC South teams. I saw the Titans last week absolutely put the hurt on the Kansas City Chiefs. And in that game, the Chiefs put at least 7+ defenders in the box on 26 of the 29 rushes against the Chiefs, and they're still able to be effective offensively. That trifecta of Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones is scary, even on the road. The fact that they can control the clock, control the running game with King Henry and company. I'm going to take the Titans on the road. What say you, Titans-Colts, this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Titans as well. And the reason why I'm going to take the Titans is because I'm seeing what Ryan Tannehill is doing. And what Ryan Tannehill is doing, he's throwing the ball. He's throwing the ball to them big boys who look like goddamn power forwards, but they just so happen to be wide receivers between Julio and A.J. Brown. And between Julio and A.J. Brown, man, it's hard to check these guys one-on-one because all they're going to do is big body you, position themselves and just come down with the ball when it comes down to 50-50 jump balls. That's exactly what they're going to do. They complement each other very well. So that's what I thought Tannehill had to work on. I thought they just solely relied on King Henry on handing the ball, even though King Henry is the team's personality. But at the same time, man, them 2 wide receivers between Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, they got the same personality as King Henry. They just so happen to play on the outside. So now Tannehill is seeing that he's finding that, man. And Tannehill can run too as well. You can run a few RPOs with Tannehill as well. So I got the Titans as well beating the Colts. I like what Carson Wentz is doing. He's always been tough. He's always been gritty. The Colts defense isn't bad at all. They got a nice little defense. They have been injured throughout the season. I like what they're doing. I like what they're going. But for me, it's just the personality of Ryan Tannehill. I think the drip from King Henry and his two wide receivers, Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, it's kind of rubbing off on Ryan Tannehill, and you can see he's kind of getting that swagger with himself, and he's passing the ball to those guys a lot. So I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans over them.
I love it. We'll go on to the next game, Buccaneers at Saints. Before we predict this game, Ike, did you see Tom Brady throws his 600th touchdown pass? And we see everything he gets back in return for the actual football, the fan that was given the ball by Mike Evans.
Right.
What I'm curious about is Tom Brady, say he goes for 700 and hangs on for another few years. How much are we talking if this 600 football garnered, okay, 2 signed jerseys and a helmet from Brady, Mike Evans signed jersey and game cleats, $1,000 to the Bucs team store, season tickets for the next 2 seasons, and 1 Bitcoin. How much is 700 going to be worth? It's a king's ransom, Mike.
I'm looking at it from an auction standpoint. So if the 600 piece gonna give me all that, the 700 piece got to be monumental for me. I ain't giving it back. If Mike Evans wind up doing that again and he just totally on the 700 ball, I'm not giving that ball back because I know that ball gonna cost millions and millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna need a stake. I'm gonna need a stake with a TB12. I know Tom Brady got TB12. I'm gonna need some sort because the Pro Football Hall of Fame gonna be calling me. All the auctioneers gonna be calling me. Tom, I'm not even worrying about you. The Tampa Bay Bucks gonna be calling me. So that's 3 people that's gonna be calling me, and they're willing to write a blank check. I know. So for that point, nah, y'all don't even worry about that, man. I need a king's ransom. I need that TB. I need a piece of that TB12 stakes, man. Give me some of them shares of that TB12. That's exactly what I need. And I'm talking 47%. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I need 47%. I need 40. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and give it. I'm gonna let the auctioneers or Pro Football Hall of Fame decide on how much they want to bid on this 700, and it's gonna be a lot of money. It's gonna be a lot of money. So that's what
I think it could happen. I mean, it sounds crazy. I think it could happen though if he decides he wants to stick around, because I haven't seen any regression from Brady this season. It's like even at age 44, Ike, Bucks are favored by 6 over the Saints. Some players that are due back from injury. Gronk's coming back from his rib injury. Levante David, an ankle injury, and Richard Sherman, a hamstring injury. All 3 players practiced on Wednesday. So a good sign for the Buccaneers. I'm going to take the Buccaneers, even though they are on the road. I'll take them over New Orleans.
I'm taking the Bucks. This is when that defense started to crank up. That defense get to cranking. That big truck, them diesels. I got that diesel. I got that Ford F-350, that dually truck. That's when that diesel started to crank in, Mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Bucks as well, man. And Tom just having fun. You can just tell in New England it was just all business, man. It was you get in the Kentucky Derby, you don't see nothing but Super Bowls. There's no fun. You can tell Tom whether he's doing stuff on social media, whether he's doing interviews, whether he's on the field. Man, he's just having fun, man. And it's scary when you got a guy this good just having fun. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Bucks, man. But I'm looking at the defensive side for the Tampa Bay Bucks, man. That defensive line is starting to crank up, baby. It's starting to crank up. When you see Big Villa and he started to do dance moves on the sideline, that means he's having fun. So, yeah, I got the Tampa Bay Bucks in this one.
They had a get-right game against the Bears in Week 7, Ike. And I can tell that your dog Brutus is salivating over getting after the quarterback in your analysis of the Buccaneers over there at the Taylor household right now. We will move on to the Sunday night matchup, Cowboys and Vikings. And the big question is Trevon Diggs going to continue his interception streak? He has 7 interceptions in 6 games. Entering Week 8, Diggs has more interceptions than 23 teams. Cowboys coming off a bye week. I'm going to take the Cowboys. They're on the road, but they are a road favorite. And I want to see whether Diggs can continue his wizardry as a cornerback for the Cowboys.
Not with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Not even. I'm gonna take the Minnesota Vikings with this one. I'm gonna take this game right here. Gonna show Diggs. Hold up, wait a minute, pump the brakes. We see what you've been doing, but you haven't had a 2-receiver tandem like this yet.
This is an easy solution, Ike. They just need to clone Diggs. It's that simple.
Diggs gonna have hell this game. I guarantee you. Why would I tell you? He gonna have hell this game. And the reason why he gonna have hell this game, because this is a balanced offense, bro. This is not a one-sided offense. Yeah. They can run and they got receivers. So, and you got a very manageable quarterback. And you like this, don't you? That's their quarterback name. You like this, don't you? So Kirk Cousins and company with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, and you got Cook sitting in the back. But it's a balance. This play action pass gonna be tough. Your eyes got to be right, and we all know, even though he got 7 picks in one game, he is the number one quarterback who has given up the most yards in the NFL. Cornerback who has given up the most yards in the NFL. So it's a hit or miss, man. It's a blessing and a curse. But this game right here, I got the Minnesota Vikings in this one, dog.
I know you are what your record says you are, but the Vikings at 3-3, I think, are a little bit better than their record indicates.
100%.
Yeah. Excited to watch this one. Final matchup before we get to Steelers and Browns on Monday Night Football, Giants at Chiefs. And a couple things that I want to talk about with the Chiefs, because going into the season, they were Super Bowl favorites and everything. First and foremost, to call them a dynasty, I think is disrespectful to other franchises that have won multiple Super Bowl titles. Now, that's not to say that they haven't had success the last 2 seasons, making a Super Bowl appearance, winning the Super Bowl, and then making the AFC Championship. And if not for a D Ford's offsides penalty, they would have gone to 3 consecutive. But win multiple Super Bowl titles before you call yourself a dynasty, first and foremost. Our guy Dave Dameshek has this right as well, and that Mahomes hasn't turned into a pumpkin. It's just now that when you want to pay him $500 million, you don't have as much salary cap to allocate to the other positions of need. The same thing's going to happen with the Browns and Baker Mayfield. If they offer him that hefty contract extension, I would expect something similar to happen with the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. We'll eventually see it too with the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. It's just what happens. We saw it happen with Russell Wilson. And so the reason I mentioned Dameshek is he put out this whole graphic of, depending on what year you are as a quarterback, teams that tend to have success have a good young quarterback on a rookie deal. You can load up your roster around that young quarterback. And then once the quarterback gets paid in the modern day NFL, it's harder to win a Super Bowl. That's what's going on with the Chiefs right now and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Of course, I think the Chiefs is going to beat the Giants in this one. I think it's going to be a tune-up game because their next 3 with the Chiefs are going to be pretty tough games after this Giants game with the Kansas City Chiefs. But when you want to talk about money and contracts, I think Lamar Jackson will get a Dak Prescott kind of deal. I think Lamar is probably looking for more guaranteed money up front. I think Dak is getting for this year, I'm talking about contract year, over the next 12 months, he's getting $75 million guaranteed for his first year. So I think Lamar is looking for something like that, a 3 to 4 year deal. I don't think Lamar is looking for a long-term deal. I think he's going to want to do what Dak does, and that's every 4 years, man. Let's see what the hell I can do. If I can get $75 million guaranteed in only 1 year, I'll do that any day. You know what I'm saying? I'll take between the 35 and the 40 million base salary, as long as you give me that 75 in 1 year. So I think Lamar has that kind of mindset. You know what I'm saying? If that Patrick Mahomes contract looks good on paper, but if you just break it down, it's not as bad. And the longer it goes, the more team friendly it is. You know what I'm saying? Now that Josh Allen contract, Josh Allen is winning on his contract. He got lesser years, but damn near more guaranteed money plus his salary when it comes down to Patrick Mahomes. So he really got the bag. You know what I'm saying? But if you just look at Coach Andy Reid, he was like that with Donovan McNabb. He just liked signing his quarterbacks 8 to 10 years. That's just, he always been like that. If he like his quarterback, he's definitely going to sign him. You know, so I think Lamar's a little bit different. I think Lamar's going to have that Dak Prescott mentality. You know, just give me damn near all of it up front. You know, $75 million in 1 year. That's a lot of money in 1 year. That's over a 12-month span. That's a lot of money. So that's just how I look at it, man. Between Baker, though, I think they're gonna look at Baker as a Ryan Tannehill. You know, between 35 and 40, and that's what I really. And that depends on how Baker Mayfield, you know, plays throughout the course of the season. You know, so Baker, if he stepped his game up like he stepped his game up last year, and he wound up, I think it was like 19-3 or something, like 19 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the second half of the season. Baker's gonna get his cheese, but if Baker get to this 6-6, I think it's either 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, or 6 touchdowns or 4 interceptions. Right now, if he keeps that up, they gonna weigh the options, and that's what they should do. But that's just getting back to the prediction. Yeah, I do have KC over the Giants, but yeah, I know we was talking about quarterbacks and their money.
Oh yeah, I'll take the Chiefs as well. The Chiefs by 10, though. I'm more inclined to take the points and have the Giants cover. I do think that the Chiefs will win this game.
I agree.
So, again, just seeing the Chiefs in person, the defense, like the front seven is just bad. And on the other side of the ball, on offense, like you pointed this out to me, and this is what opposing defenses are doing. They're keeping 2 safeties high, and they're saying, we're not going to have Tyreek Hill beat us over the top, and we'll bracket Travis Kelce. Kansas City, what's your counter? And they haven't been able to figure it out. They have not been able to figure it out.
Because they don't have a run game. You know what I'm saying? When you don't have a run game, there's no balance when you don't have a run game. You know what I'm saying? Now they're keeping the top on the roof. Now they're making, they're making Patty Mahomes, check down, and that's something Patrick Mahomes don't want to do. He don't want check down. He wanted to splash big plays. He wanted the ESPN. He wanted the 16, 17-yard, oh, my God, no-look passes. He don't want to Tom Brady that thing. He don't want to throw it to Leonard Fournette, 17 times and let Leonard Fournette have 120 yards, receiving, but let alone we coming out with wins. He don't want to do that. He wanted the Tyreeks. He wanted Travis Kelce. He wanted the Harmons. He just wanted the backflips and the big plays and the going to the sideline and doing your own kind of daps and, celebrations, but that's not going to happen. And that's what you got to love about the NFL. It take a few years. They say for a rookie quarterback, it takes an offseason for a defense coordinator. For a veteran quarterback, they say it takes 2 to 3 years. Now it's on the quarterback and the offensive system and the scheme to change up. Because if not, man, they're gonna take away what you do best and make you just nickel and dime throughout the whole field. And that's exactly what defensive coordinators are doing to the Kansas City Chiefs right now. They're just making them nickel and dime, and that's just something they don't want to do because they're not used to doing it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like if you watch basketball, it's like Russell Westbrook. He's just used to, green light, green light, green light, green light. And now you want to change him and you can't change him. That's just something he always did. Same thing with the Kansas City Chiefs. They green light, green light, green light, green light. Every time they see a yellow light, man, they always want to hit the green button. And these teams figure that out, man. They don't have the patience. That's all these defensive coordinators saying. Hey, man, let them nickel and dime because they ain't got the patience. And the Kansas City Chiefs, as an offensive unit, they don't have the patience, but they need to have a running game.
I love the cross-sport analogy, Ike. I'll use a car reference. If you floor your truck, right, you pedal to the metal, pedal to the floor, it's going to run out of gas at some point. So a few stats I want to run through that also back this point, and we'll get to our score predictions for Steelers-Browns. Chiefs are producing touchdowns on 34.8% of their offensive drives. That's second in the NFL. They produce a first down or a touchdown on 81.2% of their series, which is tops in the league. So what's the path forward for the Chiefs? It's eliminating the turnovers offensively, because if a team is going to take the top and put a cover on the roof, you're going to have to go a 10, 12, 15 play drive down the field. And then you need some improvement on the defensive side of the football, which has just been an absolute mess. Ike, you mentioned their schedule moving forward beyond week 8. They've got the Giants on Monday Night Football. Then they've got the Packers as well. They've got the Raiders, and then they have the Cowboys in the following 3 weeks. So it's a little bit of a gauntlet. They'll have an easier matchup against the Giants, a Giants team that's struggling right now. But then their next 3 after that, it will tell the tale of, are the Chiefs even going to make the playoffs this season? Right now, entering week 8, I would say no.
It's their defense is built to be ahead. So they on that defensive personnel, they have a lot of guys who can catch the ball, like honey badgers when you want to talk about a secondary. They got a lot of defensive linemen and outside linebacker that can sack the quarterback. But hell, when you handing the ball off on that defense and when you're doing play action pass and the safeties are coming up and now the tight ends are running wide open, it doesn't matter. We talking about Chris Jones and company in the past 3 years, him and his homeboy that had damn near, led the league in sacks because the offense was up. Now you can't get no sacks when all you got to do is make tackles on running backs. Now your secondary guys, they can't get picks when they got to come up and tackle. So it's a little bit different, and that's why. And I think Cleveland had the recipe. They slowed the game down last year, even though they lost. They slowed the game down. We got very excited when Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes was going to play the playoff because that's what the world looks for. They look for these high scoring games. But as a football player, an ex-football player, I like that Cleveland Brown recipe. We're going to come in, we're going to hand the ball off. Baker at the time just didn't know how to close that game out. That's all it was. And from that point, that put a light bulb on everybody else. You know what? We might not have the 2 running backs like the Cleveland Browns have, but we got a better defense than the Cleveland Browns. Just look at the Tennessee Titans. They got a running back. I don't know about the running game. They got a running back. But so you know what? Let's just put the top on the roof. Let's just rush forward. Because this is what the Kansas City Chiefs don't want to do. They don't want to run the ball. They want to prove every week why Patty Mahomes is Patty Mahomes. So they want to throw the ball. Until the Kansas City Chiefs figure that out, they're going to be taking L's for a while. I don't care who they play. Right now, the Giants game even scared me. I'm not taking that team. I think it'll be a closer game than that.
Yeah, the 10 points is a lot. I'm with you there, Ike. Okay, Browns, Steelers, First Energy Stadium in Cleveland. Halloween afternoon. We've got the Romo Jim Nantz treatment for this AFC North matchup as well. Ike, Browns are 3.5-point favorites. Who you got on Sunday between Browns and Steelers?
Cleveland Browns. I got the Cleveland Browns. I got Pittsburgh going into Cleveland and taking that L. Even though Baker Mayfield is hurt, he ain't got to do much but really hand the ball off, to tell you the truth. That's all he got to do. And the Browns defense, for some reason, you can say what they want. The past 3 times, they got the Pittsburgh Steelers number on offense. That's exactly what they got. So I think Myles Garrett's going to run crazy. He's going to go crazy. He's going to have a 3-sack game this game. So I got the Cleveland Browns beating Pittsburgh at home.
Ike, we're going to lose all our viewers and listeners, but I got to give it to him straight. I've got the Browns 24, Steelers 20 as well. I've got the Browns winning as well for a lot of those reasons that you just mentioned too. And I don't want to lose our listeners and viewers of the Bleav in Steelers podcast, but that's how I see it going into this game. Now, I know the Steelers had a bye week coming in. Remember, the Browns played on Thursday Night Football in week 7, so they've had a lot of time to prepare as well. But a lot like how the Seattle game was almost a loser leaves town matchup, Ike, I think that this game is going to be absolutely vital for both the Browns and the Steelers if they want to stay in the AFC North division in the running with both Baltimore and Cincinnati. I've got the Browns winning as well.
Yeah, 24-21.
Okay. We'll see what happens. Ike, we're going to wrap today's show. It's Halloween on Sunday, and I wanted to ask you, of all of the Halloweens that you've endured in your lifetime, what your best costume was, because Halloween to me it's one of the most underrated holidays. I always like dressing up each year, but I wanted to ask you about that.
Oh, man. I dressed up like Robin and my son was Batman. This is when he was 5 years old. So I had a very small Robin outfit, super tight, because he picked it out for me and it was very undersized. So I couldn't even walk outside for it. I had a trick or treat inside. And his mom was laughing like a mother because she was like, dang, he picked out the smallest outfit for you. I said, yeah, it's smaller than my damn tights for football. And y'all laughing at me. So, yeah, they went trick-or-treating. I couldn't trick-or-treat. I had a trick-or-treat with damn robe on. So that's how tight the outfit was. It was bad.
Ike, I wish there was some footage of this. I provided our producer, Courtney.
Let's see if she got a picture.
Yeah. We got a picture of my best Halloween costume. I was Darth Maul one year. That's my older brother dressed as Stone Cold Steve Austin wearing a Curtis Conway Chicago Bears jersey. So our viewers can see this on the screen right now. I was Darth Maul. It was more like a cross between Darth Maul and Yoda because I was so short.
I mean, have you grown since?
Well, Ike, where's your picture? You say you got this Batman costume. Pictures or it didn't happen, my man. I'm going to dish it right back.
Yeah, I'm going to text him.
I'm still waiting to grow into my feet, Ike, in all honesty. That's what the doctors, it's like, oh, your brother's tall and you've got big feet. You'll grow into your feet. And, nearly 3 decades later, I'm still waiting.
I know.
I tell you what, though, I love Halloween, though, because it's the one night of the year, Ike, where you get a second chance to make a first impression. All you got to do is change costumes. So it's the one night of the year you get to do that.
I know, right?
Ike's trying to dig up to see if he can get his picture now. Ike, you had a workout this morning too with some people too. You're telling us about this before the pod. I figured it'd be worth mentioning on the show today.
So yeah, man, I train some of my 10-year-old kids in the morning, right? And we start at 6:45. So I like to get the party started. I'm very energetic in the morning. So first of all, I need to get myself going. So I like talking to myself and talking smack to myself as well. So. We were doing a 40-minute circuit. We did a 40-minute circuit. So the first 15, 20 minutes, I'm rolling. And I'm talking smack. But little did I know, I'm talking smack to my 10-year-old. They ain't doing nothing but gathering information and they just waking up themselves. So, that first 20, I was already woke, but I forgot I had 20 more left. That last 20, that's when they started to wake up. And they still gathering all the information on the smack talking I was doing to them. And when I say the last 20 was hell, when I say they was out working me and talking smack to me, now hold up. Now, y'all can't be disrespectful in my dang garage. I'm talking. But the crazy thing about it is it's all fun and games because the parents, they was laughing. They was talking smack to me as well because they understood. It just took a while for their kids to wake up at the same time. So, yeah, the second half of them 20 minutes, of them 40 minutes, them kids had me burning out. So shout out to my 10-year team, the Florida Eagles, man, the ones who come train with me, come work out with me, the one that keeping me in shape. But y'all got me today. I can't even lie. Y'all got me.
What are they telling you, Ike, when they're heckling you? What are they saying?
Oh, Coach Ike, you talking about you a robot. You ain't a robot. Your battery going dead. That's the kind of stuff. Because I be talking to myself like, yeah, y'all can't keep up with this goddamn robot. Then when I start slowing up, kids don't miss nothing. They don't miss nothing. Coach Ike, you said you a robot. Your battery going dead. What the hell you doing? Come on, you better keep up. So that's just what that is. But yeah, whatever I say to them, they say it back to me.
I love that. Listen, Ike, I could go the rest of the day talking about this, but we need to wrap it up here on today's show. You're the absolute best, Ike. Always fun talking with you each week here on the Bleav It Steelers podcast. Shout out to the folks over at the Bleav Podcast Network. Also, our producers at Brinks TV, led by John Brinkus, Courtney Vargas, Herbert Diaz, and their team over there. Also, shout out to the sponsors. Today's sponsor, betonline.ag. And I want to thank the viewers and the listeners of the Bleav It Steelers podcast. Thank you for tuning in and listening.
Yeah. Massive shout out to betonline.ag. Massive shout out to the Bleav in Steelers podcast. Massive shout out to Brinks TV, Miss Courtney and her style. Huge shout out to my dog, Mark Bergin, for rocking with me on the show. Make sure y'all give us a 5-piece, and that's 5 stars. Rate and review, because I know y'all like what we're saying, and we're very entertaining. Peace.
For Ike Taylor, I'm Mark Bergin. Thank you for listening to the Bleav in Steelers podcast. We'll see you next week. Take care. So long, everybody.